And joining us now to discuss how farm-to-school programs work and why they're often welcomed is Jack Bobo. He is executive director of the Rothman Family Institute for Food Studies at the University of California, Los Angeles. Thanks so much for coming on, sir.
Thank you.
Let me start by asking, how do most U.S. schools currently get their food supplies?
So there are a number of ways. One is that there are large distributors around the country that may provide food to a regional approach of schools. The second is that there might be food hubs, and so schools work with a network of farmers so that they don't have to go through these large distributors. And of course, there are the government programs and even school gardens. So there are a variety of ways it happens.
So what happens then when federal nutrition programs suddenly get cut? Can schools maintain nutrition standards without government funding?
Well, it is really challenging for the schools because it's not much money. It's just a couple of dollars per student per day in order to produce this food. And so when a big part of that budget disappears, it makes it very difficult to offer the fresh fruits and vegetables that I think we want our children to have. And so with those price cuts, they may have to go back to more processed foods, go back to more of the large distributors and cut out those freshest foods and the healthiest foods that we want our children.
Let's talk about some of the economics. In addition to benefits to students and farmers, are local food programs also better for school budgets?
They are. It's really a mixed story. The funding that comes from the government makes it a better deal for the schools to be able to access those funds. But working directly with local farmers in the absence of those funds can actually be increased cost because the distributors are bringing food from all across the country. They can freeze it, they can package it, they can ship it, and having schools that are accessing these local farmers means a lot more logistical challenges that are involved in that in order to get local food to where it's needed when it's needed. And so that can end up increasing the cost, but there's a quality aspect to it that is the trade-off that we have.
And how do you think that supply chain disruptions affect what kids eat?
Well, it's going to have a really big impact. There are many who rely on the school meals as one or two of the most important meals of the day. And so if they don't have access to these programs, they're going to have less fruits and vegetables. They're going to have less nutritious meals. They're going to be, having long-term impacts the health and nutrition because we today with obesity, even with younger children. And so denying them access to the healthiest food is just going to exacerbate all the problems that we're already seeing.
How difficult or easy is it for small farmers typically to sell to large institutions? And what happens then to local farms when these school contracts disappear? Do they have any alternative means to support themselves?
Well, these contracts are a huge opportunity for these small farmers because they're working directly with the final end user, and so the food is going to be fresher, sometimes just a few miles away, and so that's a huge opportunity to get the food where it's needed. If they're selling it to distributors, well, there's a lot more price pressure because the middleman is going to take a cut, and so that makes it more expensive to the school in the end, and it also reduces the income to the farmer. And so farmers really like these programs. They are more complicated to do each one with each individual school, but there are huge benefits to them in terms of sort of the money that they get, the quality of the food that the students get. And so finding alternatives isn't going to be easy. So the larger farmers will probably have no problem pivoting, but some of the smaller producers that are really working with small local schools, they're going to have a really tough time.
Are there any examples that come to mind that really highlight U.S. states or other countries of successful farm-to-school food programs, including ones that aren't subsidized?
Yeah, so there are a lot of really strong state level programs in Vermont and California, states like Minnesota, where I'm located here in Los Angeles. They have programs for the United School Districts that bring locally grown food into school cafeterias each week. And that really strengthens ties between schools and the regional farmers. It teaches children what good food can look like. But there are also programs that are looking at helping students to have school gardens. Alice Waters, founders of the Edible Schoolyard Project. She's been a pioneer in integrating school gardens into fresh seasonal food for students. And we've seen similar programs that have grown globally as well. And as a place where they require these healthy foods be available to students.